Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy.
General Manager Jerry Jones. Good morning, sir.
Hey, man, good to be on with you. And again, onward and upward here on Thursday.
All right. Well, we're even a day later in the week, Jerry. It's already Friday.
I beg your pardon. I should know this. We've just done this about 15 years on Friday, so I might show you where my head is this morning.
So,
matter of fact, I think I'm just going to call it Thursday so I can do a redo for yesterday.
Hey, fair enough. You have a lot of credibility. I started to question myself. I am curious. Obviously, it has not happened here before. Could you tell us about your thoughts or emotions or whatever about the Cowboys being removed from next Sunday night's primetime slot?
Oh, we've had times when we had by agreement slot movement. You're probably going to see more of this, not just Cowboys, but in general. We like, as a league, we like the flexibility that being able to move our different media associates into games that have become of particular interest because the teams are playing better or they have particular things that are attractive. So that's a long-winded way of saying flexibility makes a lot of difference. The issues, of course, are you can't move teams around when you have fans that have made commitments and are planning to come to a game, and then you move them around from an area that would make that problematic. You can't do that. But some of these do have some opportunities to be moved around. As you know, I'm very involved in our television strategies and committees, and this is to the Cowboys' advantage, and will be, because over the years we have such a huge television audience that the ability to flex us and move us around can make a lot of difference. I'll be very candid with you. Some of the biggest ratings we've ever had have been on Sunday afternoon. And so that's not a bad strategy to put the Cowboys in a potentially lesser slot, i.e. prime time, and have more eyeballs watch the NFL.
Do you think that's why the game got flexed out, or was it to get maybe a more like playoff-centric matchup into Sunday?
Well, I love the matchup that between those two teams, but it certainly was not unexpected, and candidly, a very possibility if we'd been sitting here with 3 more wins. We just have the ability to put excellent games into prime time or add to a slot that we might want to juice up a little bit. All of that is the future of managing our programming in the NFL. I like all this.
And a little bit about that, you kind of made that pretty clear. A lot of it has to do with what this unique season is, right?
Well, again, when you start now, we didn't affect our fans with this move that we had, but the unique season is going to show us how to do some things that we would have never seen otherwise, and we'll learn, and there will be some things we do as a league. There'll be some things we do presenting our games. There will be some things that, as a result of having experienced what we've done, that will become, to some degree, parts of the future. All of that's good stuff.
We've kind of joked about this a couple times. Would the NFL, or is the NFL considering then, based on what you're seeing, more Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Friday night games?
That I wouldn't want to basically come to that conclusion.
Okay.
At all, because we do have certain tenets we want. We like Saturday for during the regular parts of the season for college football. That's in everybody's best interest to have exposure there. But make no mistake about it, I can tell you firsthand, the Cowboys are the premier draw there is out here in television, period.
So you would take great offense at people who are trying to take away the America's Team moniker, then, right?
Well, I understand that conversation and that debate. It's been one that I've enjoyed. It's always been there ever since I've been involved. I get that. I know this, that as a little background, the Cowboys came along when television really, 1960, when television was really the potential. Monday Night Football, those kinds of things were being looked at, experimented with. We had Crazy Ray sitting there with holsters on and guns, sitting out in the stands, cheerleaders, and we just came in right about the time television really sunk its teeth, and the NFL sunk its teeth in television. Consequently, the greatest area that we have are the non-NFL population centers. And we, more often than not, are the number one. Well, you don't have an NFL team. More often than not, are the most viewed. And in all NFL cities, we're either the second most viewed or we're the most hated, as opposed to the team that's in the city. So all of that shows interest. And it's important to have that interest. Now, I don't like to have that interest based upon disappointing that a lot of people thought we were going to win the Super Bowl this year with our talent. And I had people saying it's the best group of talent or one of the best groups of talent. Well, that's football now. That ball's oblong and it'll bounce on you a lot of different ways. But I would a lot rather be people really chomping at the bits to really have us and viewing and looking at our games, but we've got to go to work and do something about that.
So, Jerry, when it comes to the rest of the season, 4 games left, how much will you want to use this as almost like a preseason evaluation where you guys can maybe do some things or try some things, try some players out in different scenarios where if you guys were 6-6, let's say, and winning the division, where it'd be like, hey, we got to go all in, we got a real chance to win this thing, where realistically, you guys are done and not going to make the playoffs, that you can use this to see different things you could possibly accomplish in the future?
Well, normally I would say that as you get on into the season and your chances of getting in the playoffs are dim, then you'd want to overtly play younger players. We don't have that choice. We're playing the players that can walk out there and play. There's really not many decisions about who's going on the football field because of our injury situation. And we're basically playing with all of the backups and a lot of them that normally would be on our practice squad. And so we got a bunch of them out there on the field.
Guys that wouldn't typically be out there then?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And now that's not good because we usually you're making that balance. You're trying to bring along a young player, but you're also really needing the experience that you got with the veteran player, and so that's what you're lining up against in this particular case, lining up against Cincinnati with. But still, this is football. This is football, and football is attrition. Availability, I would tell you, is right there with ability in terms of a player or in terms of a team's roster. Availability, and it always has been. And even when we had our best years, the availability and how that fell for us was a pretty dominant factor in how we played.
Yeah, healthy teams. That's a thing that sometimes is like luck. Jerry, one of the I'm going with this effort story from Mike McCarthy and from Jalen Smith and from Zeke and what they discussed yesterday. And one of my favorite stories is Michael Irvin talking about guys when he was young saying, "Hey, it's okay, just collect that check." And then he went in and he called every single one of those players out. And I wanted to kind of get your version of that story. And also, are you open to hearing your leaders do kind of the same thing and call other teammates out that aren't maybe given the effort that they feel they should be?
Michael Irvin used to take a rookie, and when the rookie came on the Cowboys, the rookie might get invited to go back home and speak at the Rotary Club. And Mike would offer the rookie, he said, how would you like me to go back home with you? And I'll make a few comments at the Rotary Club with you. He would be very much in the pocket of the rookie. And he told me the reason he does that so he can get in the pocket in the huddle with them. And he can look over in the huddle and he can basically say, now I've been with you every time, you be with me. Be a man going across the middle. Let's go. Be a football player. And Michael Irvin didn't think about leading when he got in the huddle. He was strategizing and working on it half a year before that or months before that. That normally comes with it. Now he was our greatest example, Michael Irvin, of leadership. But that's going on out here with the Cowboys. Make no mistake about it, and it will go on, and it will go on in the future. To that degree, I don't know. I'm saying he's the Hall of Famer at that right there. But it was you don't lead or you don't accomplish without design and without strategy. It's a misnomer to think that stuff just comes to you by the second as you walk in the room.
Did you feel then that you kind of saw some of the same lack of effort that we're hearing about?
No, I'm seeing some really good effort. We just had a guy nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's one of our best leaders, and Jalen Smith. And just as you do when you have ups and downs and you don't win, you can see people criticizing, quote, hard effort. You can see that. I mean, you can hear it if you want to listen to it, and that's fair to say it. But boy, I'm not. I see guys that trying to work the problem, trying to get better. I will say this: we've got, like anybody, you've got a lot of do-overs. I'd like to start again on how we approached our defense this year. I'd like to start that over again. I'm sure everybody else would too.
Where would you start with that?
Well, I'd start right there, right the first day, by the way. Unfortunately, but everybody had the same thing. The first day, they were normally when training camp is over. That's where they were. And I would really make sure that any changes we were making, I would want to make sure that we did it in the same way that we didn't make changes on offense. Because we didn't think that we had the situation or we had the time to make those changes and it really be effective. We've obviously done some things, we've changed, and we're having a hard time getting those in place to be a good defense. I've made changes.
Does any of that go over to like the coaching decisions?
Every bit of it.
Okay.
Every bit of it. And then right past that, go right to your general manager. Right past that, go your general manager, because coming through the door, the GM was eye to eye hiring the head coach, talking about how we were going to approach when he walks through the door and where he was going to go from there. That's what you do. And that obviously didn't work for us this year.
We know sometimes.
Mike, this isn't like that we've had a coach that has been there 10 years. He just left. So we were just coming through the door here, and we're sitting down talking about how you were going to approach things like that. Not just a draft or a drafting a player, but things like how we were going to approach. We spent a lot of time. Several years ago, maybe 10, 11 years ago, we went from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense. But when we did it, it was very reluctant, a lot of reluctance on making that move by our coach. His name was Bill Parcells. And so he had a tough time buying into drafting DeMarcus Ware. He wanted to draft Spears because Spears fit both ways, 4-3 or 3-4. DeMarcus Ware was principally going to the 4-3. All we did was turn around and have the greatest draft probably we've ever had on defense, and drafted Spears and Ware and Ratliff and Canty, and we were able to make the move right then and there. Had we not drafted those guys, that would have been a tough move, and probably we wouldn't have gone into it as completely. That's speculation. But there's your case. You've got to think about the personnel when you're talking about changing your scheme.
Now, we know that sports can be a very cutthroat business, especially after tough seasons, and coaches and players can suffer repercussions and everything. But you mentioned yourself as the general manager. What kind of repercussions are there do you feel on yourself when y'all suffer through a bad season?
You're not kidding me, are you?
No.
You think anybody is talking sweet about me right now?
They're probably not.
Okay. I mean, we're not kidding each other, are we?
No.
The one that should and does get heat in various forms, but the most important thing is that you don't get a chance when you don't do it right to touch that Lombardi trophy. Do y'all have any idea how much I'd write a check for if I knew for sure I could get that Lombardi trophy?
Probably about
So
as
my
much as
whole
you got.
point to you is, it is a big, big thing. It is the foremost thing. Not money. I had money, believe it or not, when I bought the Cowboys. I gave it all up to be a part of the Cowboys. Gave all of it up to be a part of the Cowboys. There has never been but one thing, and that is win. Now you look around over the last 30 years and look at how many general managers, how many presidents, how many coaches, and how many people have been involved in trying to get those wins. Now that's not an excuse, but there's nobody in any better shape to take any part of it and use it to try and win the ball games from not only the selection of the head coach, but the players that are playing the game and the coaches that are coaching them. All of that has to have my approval. So
Jerry,
you start right there, and I accept that.
Jerry, you mentioned the DeMarcus Ware, Marcus Spears draft. I'm wondering, in this upcoming draft, are you going to have a draft like that to run Mike Nolan's system successfully?
Well, you put names. You could name me some other 15 coaches. If you could have a draft like that, you could get some successful defense. Any coach you want to put in there.
All right. Well, we appreciate talking with you every Thursday
Hey,
or
guys.
Friday morning.
Hey, these are times to. These are good questions, and this is a very appropriate conversation. And you've heard me say this a jillion times. When you work for yourself, okay, there's no firing him. You got to change him, and he's got to change the direction he's going. And I've worked all my life for myself, but I've had to change directions many times. So I will change. I can change. I'm not saying which way I would change, but I'm capable of changing. I've had to have any success in my life.
Outstanding. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for jumping on with us every week. We'll catch you next Friday.
Guys, thank you.
Now, basically, that was general manager, owner, coach, player, Jerry Jones. And make sure y'all hit the like button. Now, this is mainly for all the delusional Cowboy fans who are basically asking for Mike McCarthy's job. Not only Mike McCarthy's job, they feel like they ought to clean house. This is the problem that I wanted you to hear. See, everyone probably was paying attention to what Jerry was saying, but you should have paid attention to, in the great Charles Barkley's words, the punk ass reporters or the punk ass anchors or analysts who are asking these questions. And this has been the problem with Dallas for years, decades. Jerry Jones, basically, you just heard him. oh, I'm not, you can't fire yourself. You got to change yourself. Jerry, you ain't changed nothing. You're still the old, want all the publicity Jerry. And then listen to what he said. I would write any amount of money to win the Super Bowl. Jerry, you've tried that already to buy a Super Bowl. Look, the Cowboys' problem is they didn't have an offseason. They didn't have OTAs. They didn't have none of this stuff. Mike McCarthy has gone into a season with other people players. And that also, you put people on your defense when you sign them that don't fit a Mike Nolan defense, Jerry. I swear this dude here is a bumpkin, straight country bumpkin. At times I'm like, does he even hear himself? I don't think he hears himself like when he's speaking because he's so egotistical. And then he's talking about, oh man, well, we have to, bite the bullet and move forward and everything. And then he said Jalen Smith was a leader. What has Jalen Smith led this year? What has Jalen Smith led? Jerry, your problem is you have too many hats on. That's your problem. You should have let Mike McCarthy and the guy you have, Will McClay, get the talent and go do what they got to do. Jerry's problem is, I keep telling y'all, he wants to control everything. Your problem is not the coach, Dallas fans. The problem is that injuries happen, and not only that, you don't have depth. You don't have any depth. You don't have a guy to be the next man up. If that next man up step up, he's going to be trash most likely. You didn't even address your mic. You guys don't have a mic. You guys don't even have a good safety. So the thing is, Jerry is delusional, just like the fans are delusional. You've been failing for decades, Jerry. Sometimes, instead of changing yourself, sometimes you have to step away to save yourself. That I'm being honest. Jerry, you don't understand that when you're doing the antics you do, you put a target on your team's back. You're interviewing on all these local stations. The reporters and all of them basically are scared to say whatever about you because if they say something, they're getting fired. So it's just mind-boggling to me how he says that we didn't get the right people or the right fits. Not only that, we didn't what else he say? He basically making an excuse like always. Dallas fans are responsible just as much as Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, you should have locked Dak up a year ago or 2 years ago. You should have locked him up, and once you locked him in, you're good. So the thing is, man, I just wanted you guys to hear that blasphemy. Mike McCarthy doesn't need to be fired. Mike McCarthy, they just need to bring in the right players and the right personnel to help him. Jerry needs to fire himself, but he's not going to do it. He's talking about changing himself. What are you going to change, Jerry? You're egotistical. You don't want a good to great coach because they'll get all the credit and you ain't going to get nothing. So I understand. So all I'm saying is once they're able to bring in their right personnel, then we will see what's up. But until then, Dallas is going to continue sucking. And in the question also that the reporter basically said was, when healthy, it was said that this team was a Super Bowl team. But every year, Jerry, you're saying it's a Super Bowl team. You're always saying that. That don't hold merit or hold weight. Every time you talk about, man, you know what, man, not that. When you basically be like, well, we'll be all right, Jim. A lot of people don't like me right now. Everything you're doing is a joke, and you sound arrogant. You a prick. That's gonna continue losing because you don't understand football. You don't understand how to build a team. You don't understand how to help your coaching staff by getting them what they want. You ain't want to listen to that. You want to do what Jerry wants to do. You done held them fans hostage for decades and ain't won nothing. Y'all might as well just quit the franchise and move it somewhere else. Maybe y'all will win. But the thing is, Jerry, you have to make a commitment on building your team. So all I'm saying is, this to me is more of a reflection of, it's basically a reflection of this man can't look himself in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm going to fire you. And I'm going to get a real general manager. As he should. So, all I'm saying is, man, Jerry got to do better with this. He has to learn how to build depth. And to me, he needs to sit and let people do their job. He's trying to run everything. You're not Al Davis, Jerry. All right? And basically, the reporters to me were asking a lot of softball questions. That's what I'm saying. I played that interview because I wanted Dallas fans and others to see that he's delusional. Very delusional. If you want to go to Super Bowls, Jerry, you can't buy it. You have to put the pieces there to earn it. You have to have not only the pieces behind them, you need to build your depth chart. That's all you need to focus on is getting somebody who basically knows what they're doing, knows football. You ought to alleviate that, but you don't want to alleviate it because then you'll be like, oh no, can't do it. So all I'm saying is this. Jerry has to not only look himself in the mirror, he has to fire himself, which ain't going to happen. Mike McCarthy shouldn't be fired. Mike McCarthy, I think next year they'll be in a better place. These guys right now are gaining experience, so when next year roll around, I think they'll be a lot better. And that's about it, man. But tell me in the comment section what you think about what y'all think about Jerry basically saying he needs to change and everything, which is a load of crap. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. If you want to donate to the page, cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we're out. Live boy.